Hey, yo everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and I am so happy to be back talking about comic books. Yes, I have my comic load here for the past 2 weeks. A lot of comics to talk about. Look at this, so thick and girthy and ready to roll. Well, before we get into the comic load itself, quick updates on Patreon and all my patrons out there, and of course, thank you to everyone out there that supports me on Patreon. 2 major updates, right? Or really 3. One is I was able to get my Patreon to work again. I had a couple issues with logging in. After sitting down for some time and fixing it, I finally got everything working. So I will be posting back onto Patreon regularly. And saying that, the big thing that I have coming next on Patreon is going to be my Nightwing timeline, which I'm currently works on. It's a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be because it involves me sifting through the Golden Age and Silver Age and seeing exactly what is canon and what's not, as well as whether or not to introduce outside comics like Titans or Justice League into the timeline itself. But that's a different discussion for a different time. Last Patreon update, I'm also going to be changing the reward tiers a bit, so that will probably happen within the next week or so. I'll probably do it next weekend because I won't be working, and I'll sit down and kind of sift through and see what works best because I've got some suggestions on what they would like the reward tiers to be, so I'm going to tweak things just a teeny bit. Yep. So, in saying that, let's just get right into the comics because we have a lot to talk about. And we're going to start where we always start, with a little bit of Batman in our life, with Batman issue number 59. Of course, both covers here. So basically, Batman is being told the whole spiel by the Penguin. Penguin had a girlfriend or wife, I forget what he says, I think it was wife, that Bane killed because Penguin didn't do what Bane wanted him to do. And Penguin is actually responsible for the 3 girls' deaths, as well as various different other things that has affected Batman's life. And it's all on orders of Bane. And Batman's like, bro, Bane? He's a little traumatized and screwed up in Arkham. He's like, no, broski. Penguin literally says broski. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, he says broski. He's running that place. It's like he's in charge and he's running the show. He's playing a huge facade over you. The veil has been put over you. Batman's like, I'll go down there and I'll have a little pep talk with Bane. So Batman goes down there, beats up a couple people, goes out, beats up Bane a bit. Bane holds up the act pretty well. And of course, Gordon comes in and, well, Batman might accidentally hit Gordon. Yes. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. So, I'm going to say this, right? I like spoilers, right? I like knowing the end of something before it happens, for the most part. I tend to enjoy stuff better if I kind of know the outcome. I know it sounds silly, but if I know that the hero is going to defeat this enemy in the end, I like knowing that the trials and tribulations to it will have a payoff, right? Or, in this case, right, and I'm going to go back to issue 50, so don't hate me. If I know that Catwoman and Batman are going to get married in the end, I'm okay with all this payoff, because Batman's really losing his mind. And it's kind of fun to watch and read, because he's kind of losing his mind. He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He hit Gordon. Like, it's pretty clear that he's not in his right mind. He leaves KJ Beast to basically die. Doesn't kill him, but basically leaves him for dead. And he's not where he needs to be, right? And this is Bane's plan, and Bane's doing a great job of it. As long as Batman doesn't cross the line and kill someone, I'm quite alright with it. But it's kind of interesting to see this downfall of Batman. And this issue is by and by a lot better than the previous arc, which dealt with the KG Beast. So, in saying that, Batman's back on track. I enjoy it. Good stuff. Moving on, Detective Comics 992. We're getting close to that 1,000 mark. If you guys have saw issue number 1,000, it's got that nice Jim Lee cover. Basically, this is a continuation of the Dark Knight working with his arch nemesis, or one of his arch nemesis, Two-Face, to take down Cobra. Cobra, la la la. No, not that Cobra, but the DC comic Cobra. Could have thought of a better name. But anyways, they're going up against Cobra, and not just that, but they're getting the whole Batman family in on it. But there's more to Cobra's plan than just being terrorist thugs. They actually have a grand scheme, and only Batman and Two-Face can basically get it fixed. Next, Nightwing issue number 53. So, I'm going to say it up front. I want Nightwing to get his memories back. I enjoy Dick Grayson as Nightwing. But I cannot deny that the writing in the past few issues of Nightwing have been pretty fun. I don't mind Rick Grayson and his memory lapsingness. And I think they're doing a good job at telling how Dick Grayson would, react to not having his memories. He doesn't have any ties or binds, and the fact that someone else is going out there as Nightwing is like this responsibility is lifted from him. It's kind of cool to get that aspect. I want Dick to obviously get his memories back, and he will, right? As comics, everything always reverts back to the status quo of positiveness. But I am enjoying this overall arc in this issue, and I recommend getting it. Moving onward and upwards to Red Hood and the Outlaws. Or now simply called Red Hood and Outlaws, or Red Hood Outlaw. There's no and in there. Issue 28. So, Red Hood is in this nice southern slice of Americana kind of town where everyone's having apple pie and cider, and it's all good. But it's not all good, because they all try to kill Red Hood. And eventually he has to team up with a Batman family member that he's not too keen on. I don't really need to go into too much detail on this. It's just a big rompous fight, and it's a fun rompous fight. I'm enjoying Red Hood for what it is, and I'm enjoying the new direction. I do prefer the previous costume. This costume's not bad. I mean, Mortal Kombat Red Hood is still kind of cool, but I would prefer him wearing the traditional biker fetish look. The team-up is going to be interesting next issue, and overall the action was fun. A pretty good romp, all in all. Catwoman issue number 5. So, again, Selina trying to defend her sister and figure out exactly what's going on with her sister and why she's being drugged up, and in part gets attacked herself. And we got to see more of this villain whose name escapes me because, she just got introduced in these past few issues. I really should know by now, but hey, she doesn't wear a mask, so oops. But we get a little bit more about her and her devious plans and basically Game of Throning it. Overall, Catwoman has been an enjoyable series. There's a lot of nice little nods to stuff that I like about Catwoman's past, whether it be her sister and what happened to her with Black Mask, or whether it's a small little nod to Batman here and there. She kind of fantasizes being with Bruce in here, not in like a really weird sexual way, but like in a nice, comforting spousal way. And overall, the art and action is beautiful. So Catwoman, you can't go wrong with it. It has been a good series, and I can't hold anything against it. Harley Quinn, and I know that cover can be hard to see because it's mostly in white. Little color up near the hair. Issue number 54. This still is continuing the story with Minor Disaster, which is Major Disaster's daughter, who basically wants to prove herself in her father's eye. Sure, whatever goes for you, girl. She finds out that maybe Harley Quinn's not her enemy, and maybe she might be her unlikely ally. Harley Quinn is as goofy and fun as ever. I think Sam Humphries does a good job at balancing the silliness with the seriousness. Like, it's not over the top with flying eggs with faces, like the Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner run, which is still good, don't get me wrong, but it was a little too silly at some points. But it's got that balance between comedy and seriousness, so enjoyable. If you're a Harley Quinn fan, of course. Damage, issue number 11. If you like Damage, you're going to like this issue, but do not be deceived by the cover. Soups only shows up at the end. I knew that was going to happen because they always do this to us, right? They say that, the big showdown between Damage and Superman, and Superman only comes in at the end. But it is Damage versus the Justice League, and it's Flash, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, Vixen, and the last one was Green Arrow. There, I remembered it. A pretty good showdown and a fun fight, and really giving some feats to Damage and showing where he stands on the echelon of comic book character strengths and abilities and feats. So overall, a fun romp. I enjoyed this issue, and I'm enjoying Damage as a whole as a comic. So it's if you haven't jumped onto it, I recommend maybe getting the first trade and then picking up the most recent issues. Suicide Squad, issue number 48. Amanda Waller is captured and has a bomb in her head. It's up to the Suicide Squad to save her. That's it. Not a bad issue. Not much happens. I do enjoy the overall dialogue and the action and everything. It kept me engaged during the actual comic. Nothing to write home to, though. I know that sounds kind of mean, but I mean, it's just them going on to save Amanda Waller for like the upteenth time. I mean, how many times have we saved Amanda Waller? Moving on to Uncanny X-Men 1 and 2. So, let's state a couple things, right? I'm going to say some unpopular things and things that might tick off some Marvel people, but not in a bad way. One is this guy is like a multiple man. I don't know his name. It's like Maddock or something like that. So I'm sorry I don't know his name. I'm just going to call him Multiple Junior. Number two is what I like about the Uncanny X-Men is bringing all the X-Men together, right? There's so many X-Men titles. X-Men Red, X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, X-Men Black, which is the villains, so that doesn't count. And now Uncanny X-Men, Astonishing X-Men, all these different X-Men titles. It's kind of cool to get the team kind of one main title, because there was no main title. I mean, the closest was X-Men Gold being like the prime X-Men title, like the flagship one, and then it became X-Men Red for a bit, and now it's back to Uncanny X-Men. So here's the unpopular opinion. While I do enjoy the lineup, I'm really happy that we have Nightcrawler and Jean Grey and Storm and Iceman and Beast in there. Oh my god. It's going to get people pissed off. It doesn't feel like an X-Men team to me without Wolverine and without Cyclops. I don't know if Cyclops is going to come back. There's kind of rumors or hints to him possibly coming back. And Wolverine is technically back. I mean, when did X-23 start calling herself X-23 again? In the last issue of X-Men Red, she was still Wolverine. Did I miss something? Maybe. But putting all that biasness aside, because I would have liked to see Wolverine and Cyclops in this, I guess death kind of keeps them away from it. Enjoyable 2 issues. I think it's a little cluttered. I think I think there needs to be a little bit more focus on the overall story. But I like Jean leading the team. I think she's a good leader. I like the structure of the team. I enjoy the quips. I enjoy the quips about X-23 cutting herself out of a T-Rex's belly, and Jean saying, "Oh, I guess people have to step up the game, or she's going to get MVP." And then Bobby saying, "But she got eaten. Doesn't that count for something?" Like, fun little quips. I enjoy it, and I'm enjoying the series. We'll see where it goes from here. Captain America issue number 5. I got the X-Men variant, so there's actually no Captain America on there. Kind of confusing, but Captain is out to save his girl, and while this is going on, big conspiracies are going on with it. I wouldn't say the storyline is anything gripping, right? There's a bit of a twist at the end. Little twist. But what this comic does really well, good art, good dialogue, loyal to the characters, and good action. Can't really complain too much about that. The story isn't as strong as it should be. Hey, shit happens. But, I mean, this is by and by 1,000 times better than Hydra Captain. So, I'll take it. And I'm starting to forgive Marvel for Hydra Captain. Starting, right? Titans, issue number 29. Okay, ready? Another unpopular opinion. I got a couple of them. So, let's go. I love this book. I love the characters in it. I love Donna Troy. She's one of my favorite characters of all time. Love Beast Boy and Raven in it. Steel is awesome in it. I love Ms. Martian. This issue deals with them stranded on a planet they boom tube from, and they have to kind of put their differences aside and really learn how to work as a team without Nightwing. Here comes the unpopular opinion. Maybe not unpopular, but maybe kind of mean, right? This title is infinitely less interesting without Nightwing. I know, that's kind of a dick thing to say, but it's true. I think Nightwing was kind of the glue that tied this whole entire team together, and I think the team even knows that. I get it. No memory. Nightwing's Rick Grayson now, but it would be nice to actually have him on this title. If not, then have some other Titan members on there. Donna Troy on there, founding member, fantastic. But where's Wally? Where's Garth? Obviously, Arsenal can't be on it. I think after this Drowned Earth stuff gets done with and the Titans go back, I think they need to add 1 or 2 veteran-ish members to the team. And I think Garth would be a good pick. Obviously, Wally's dead, and so is Arsenal. Spoilers. I don't think they're really dead. Or at least I don't think Wally's really dead. But I think they need to beef up the lineup. 5 members is good. I think 7's a good, nice number. So, yeah. Teen Titans, issue number 24. So, this issue deals with the Titans kind of, again, similar to the other Titans, working past their differences, kind of getting to trust each other. Crush, right? Lobo's daughter is holding up a building, and the Titans kind of converse amongst each other about the different issues they have with each other. And overall, it's actually a nice issue. It reminds me of that Justice League issue from Rebirth, where they're all trapped, and they kind of spill the beans about Batman's secret plans and how this Superman is different from the other Superman and all that jazz. But it's a nice little issue where the Titans have to kind of hash out their problems. And it ends off with, well, intrigue. So far, Rebirth revamped Titans run, right? The new team has been just as fun as the previous team. So, Sideways, issue number 10. So, I like Sideways a lot. I think it's a fun, whimsical ride that reminds me of Spider-Man, only in the DC universe, and I know that's what they're aiming for. But it's even more fun when Kenneth Rocaford is doing the art. I know he can be controversial with some of his art sometimes, in particular his Teen Titans art, which gave big titties to our girl, Wonder Girl, who's only like 16 or 17. But his art is gorgeous, and he does a good job at capturing emotion and action, and I really want to meet him someday so I can get some signed autograph, maybe a commission. Who knows? But basically this deals with, is exactly what it is, a brief interlude. Ernie, Sideways' friend, not love interest, but they go to Paris and they kind of just talk. Sideways, Derek talks about how he missed his mother funeral and how things are shitty with him and his father. Ernie talks about how her parents are getting divorced and how her and her sister kind of have to choose which parent to live with. It's really kind of a tough situation for the both of them, and it's really cool to see these friends just kind of talk it out. Sideways has been one of the strongest titles from the new Age of Heroes. And if you're not reading it now, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Get it? Superman, issue number 5. So this is fun. I love the fact that we're going to eventually have a Zod Superman team up. We get to learn really the full extent of what happened to Earth, because Earth disappeared, but don't worry, it's not gone forever. And basically, the Justice League zaps Zod to the Phantom Zone so he can work with Superman. Put all of our feelings aside, people, and let's fuck up the killer of Krypton. Overall, the issue cover is kind of cool, how Superman's faded, the actual text. I'm really looking forward to the next issue. This issue was good. It was serviceable. But it's really the next issue where things are going to get fun and going to get good. Speaking of which, Supergirl, issue number 24. Ever since the new team jumped onto this, the art, the writing, and the story direction, I have fallen in love with Supergirl all over again. Not to say I never didn't fall in love with her. I've always loved Supergirl. Ever since Jeff Loeb's run on Superman Batman, where it reintroduces Supergirl with Michael Turner, that was where I fell in love with the character. The innocence and the quirkiness to her. But and since then, I have to say Kara's only had such a good run in comics, even getting her own TV show. But this comic has so much fun whimsicalness. I know I used that word already today, but it really does. It feels so natural, and it has a Silver Age feel to it, almost a Bronze Age feel, and I like the outward space travel of it all. It's really good. If you're not picking up Supergirl, you should really go back and pick up the last 2 or 3 issues to get up to date. Let's talk about another comic that is awesome. Hawkman, issue number 6. Hawkman and Adam versus an asshole. That's basically it. But it's so great. I love this mysterious Hawkman. I love him trying to figure out his other lives, his previous lives, and I love how DC's actually kind of mapping it out and giving some continuity to it. Hawkman is great. Pick it up. So let's talk about another brief interlude. Aquaman, issue number 42. And 43 is where we get the new creative team and the new direction for Aquaman. Kelly Sue Dakota is jumping on and doing a amnesiac Aquaman who has no powers. But basically this is Aquaman being stabbed by Poseidon. sure, and going on a vision quest, for lack of a better term, where he needs to find his confidence and needs to find out who he is and what he does and why he does it. He meets his father along the way. And surprisingly enough, he doesn't wear the Rebirth costume in his dream. He wears the New 52 one, because if you notice, Rebirth has the low-cut collar, where the New 52 one has the high-cut collar, and he has the New 52 one. Let's pop this out, just so that you guys can see. The actual comic itself is really fun and enjoyable, despite the fact that I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. But let's see. As you can see there, he has the high collar. So it's kind of cool that they're throwing a little love towards New 52 and the art direction. But on a whole, this shouldn't have been fun, right? It should have been just a stupid, silly tie-in to the Drowned Earth, and but I got more enjoyment out of it than I thought. Is it necessary? No. If you're waiting out for the new team, then wait for the new team. It doesn't really affect Drowned Earth that much, and it really doesn't affect Aquaman that much. It's just a nice level added to the character. Another comic I love to death, but this issue was kind of meh, was Flash, issue number 58. Flash is on his speed quest. This issue has some fun, rip-roaring adventureness to it, but overall it wasn't until the end of the issue where it really mattered. I still love Flash. I still think it's handled incredibly well. I think Joshua Williamson has done a fantastic job on this title for the past 58 issues. This issue wasn't the greatest. Wonder Woman! New team, new dream. Wonder Woman is starting up a new arc, and this is issue number 58. Beautiful cover, by the way. Not the interior art, though, but beautiful cover. Basically, Wonder Woman's out to save Steve Trevor, who has gone missing from his platoon. While this is going on, Wonder Woman encounters one of her old nemesis, I guess that's the past. Nemesis. Anyways, one of her old enemies, and one of my favorite old enemies for her, who's looking to be a ally for her. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes. If you're a big fan of Wonder Woman, this is good to pick up. I think this is a good jumping on point for anyone in the Wonder Woman series. Let's talk about another comic that has been really fun, Justice League Dark. This is issue number 5. This deals with the history of the Nightmaster, who was that guy that got killed in DC Dark Metal. Basically is what Bobo, the Professor Chimp, gets his sword from. And we get a little bit of Bobo and his history with the Nightmaster and how this all intertwines together, as well as they go to this alternate dimension. Fun stuff. Like Justice League Dark, you can't go wrong how fun this stuff is, right? And the art is gorgeous in this, and I like the team. Even like the minor team members, like Professor Langstrom, Man-Bat, is still a really, really fun character in this, and handled with so much grace and love. Justice League Dark is one of the really good titles to come out of the new age of heroes, or out of DC Metals, right? Or No Justice. Let's talk about a little bit of disappointment. Justice League issue number 12, Drowned Earth. Batman versus Sinestro, Joker, and Gorilla Grodd. Kind of cool. Everything else, kind of boring. This issue really didn't do anything for me at all. And I really don't know where it's going to go from here. I know that's negative, but it didn't really do much for me. So, with that said, right, there's so many comics I could do as my pick of the week. There really is. And I mean, it would be easy for me to fall back on something like Batman or Catwoman or something, but surprisingly, I'm going to give it to Sideways, issue number 10. Like I said, it's just a fun issue, dealing with drama and having action and all that fun jazz. I love the characters, I love the storytelling, and I love this comic. Pick it up. It is worth your money. With that said, this is my end of my video. Those are my comic reviews. I will have some more videos up a little bit later on this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for your patience, and thank you for everyone that did the live video chat with me, the Q&A. It was really fun. We did over an hour of just talking about comics and all these various other stuff. So, thank you very much. With that said, this is Andrew saying, peace out for now.